Hey everybody, I'm back. There was a story about this young nurse named Kiah Hopson who was found murdered in a parking lot. And I am showing this screen because I searched her name on YouTube and this is the only thing I see. It's a 2-minute video posted 3 days ago from Detroit, WXYZ TV. So I wanted to look and see if there was anything else on this story. Very tragic. I searched CNN Kiah Hopson. I hope I'm pronouncing the young lady's name correctly. But I see, of course, WXYZ Detroit. Click on Detroit. Gun Memorial. D.L. Hughley talked about it apparently on Facebook. There's a couple of more websites. A GoFundMe has been started. And I also saw this website of, I think, from Dr. Boyce Watkins, Your Black World, that discusses Kiah Hopson's murder. I think murder based on the circumstances. Very beautiful young lady. The title is Young Woman Found Dead After She Achieved Her Dream of Becoming a Nurse. Young 24-year-old beautiful woman. It's so sad that we're losing a lot of younger black people due to, most of the time, I think, race soldiers in the system of white supremacy that we live in as victims of white supremacy. I don't want to jump to conclusions just yet. I have not read this article, but I'm just going to assume that there were some nefarious activities occurring which resulted in her death. So the article starts by Victor Ochien. The story of Kiah Hopson is a very sad one. She was a young, hardworking woman who had invested everything to achieve her dream of becoming a nurse. Things worked pretty well for her, and she was able to finish her studies and earn her papers. That meant she'd finally become a nurse. Unfortunately, not long after she became a nurse, Hopson was found dead outside of her home. This is something that has terrified her family, and they're seeking answers, as they should be. Her family and friends don't have much information at the moment. All they know is that they lost their 24-year-old beautiful daughter, whose body was found lifeless with gunshot wounds in front of a Sterling Heights, Michigan apartment. Hopson qualified to be a nurse only 2 years ago. She quite enjoyed her nursing profession and invested so much of her efforts to grow in it. Just to chart her path, she decided to move into her own apartment in August, even as her family members knew her as a very strong and independent woman. Quote, she was the one who finished nursing school first. Out of everybody, all of her friends are in nursing school. She set the tone, said Shantique Hopson's best friend. She was 22 years old when I think that meant when she became a nurse. She worked very hard, said Shantique. Hopson's apartment was in Sterling Heights, a suburb located on the outskirts of Detroit. The complex where she lived has been described by neighbors as a pretty safe neighborhood. But unfortunately, this past Saturday, Hopson was gunned down, and there are no clear details coming out to tell the story of her death. Quote, this is a very safe community. I've lived here for 18 years, and nothing like this has ever happened. I know there is a lot of stuff on Facebook, but Sterling Heights is very safe. This complex is very safe, and the police responded immediately, Terry Groth said to Fox 2 News. Okay, I need to find out who Terry Groth is because they're going a little too hard on talking about how safe this neighborhood is. Clearly, it's not safe if she got killed. Okay, so I'm going to look that up later if y'all can if you want. But I don't know who this Terry Groth is. All right, going on. Hopson's family is still trying to come to terms with the fact that their daughter was murdered. They cannot find the answer as to why this happened, considering that they knew her to have no enemies. All she focused on doing was to grow in her profession and improve her life. Quote, she was hurt outside of her home. She wasn't out a club. What? She wasn't out at a club, I guess they meant. She wasn't pulling up to a guy's house. She was at her home. When you think of home, you think of safety, said Shantique to WXYZ News. Should you be having any leads, kindly get in touch with Sterling Heights Police. And that's the end of the article. It says source. I think that's going to take me to another website. Okay, it's taking me to the Black Loop, which was posted December 10th, 2017. So they have another article here. And there's a video apparently. Oh, Lord, these ads. Yeah, so I'm gonna go back to the other site, Your Back World. And that's the end of it. I don't see any comments at the bottom. That's the end of the article. So there may not be any comments just yet. But it's a very sad story because we're seeing this type of thing happen all too often. And my thing is, with this happening to this young lady and it's not being in the mainstream news, which I'm not surprised about that. Historian calls it lamestream news. Where are the feminists, especially the black feminists, when it comes to another black woman potentially being killed in an area? This is in Detroit, which is another area that's becoming more and more heavily gentrified. And I haven't heard. Maybe it will come out in the wash later on, or maybe the feminists are too worried about black men being the number one reason why black women die. I don't understand that whole concept. But where are they when it comes to stories like this and supporting the families? I have these questions. But anyway, I don't want to keep going on. It's a very sad story. My condolences go out to this young woman, Kiah Hopson, and her family, her friends, her associates. I hope they find out who did this to her. They're not going to say just yet that she was murdered, although it seems as though she probably was. I hope they find out why this happened. And you all let me know in the comment section what you think about this. Like the video, comment, subscribe, share the video. Please share the video. That's probably the most important thing, is to get the information out there. I don't necessarily need to have all the credit for it. Just share the video and just let people know what's going on. This is just one story out of many. And I hope we can get more information about this. Thank you.